welcome to the stage, Nicky Moon.
Well, give it up to Steve Magnuson. Bit of an awkward set up front, but we'll go ahead and make this work for everyone. How excited are you guys to be here right now? All right, that's what I like to hear. Did everyone watch Game of Thrones here? What a fucking loser. No, I'm just kidding. I just like one person to do a woo so I can call them a fucking loser. I don't know. Maybe, am I an asshole? Will someone please tell me if I'm an asshole or not? I kind of have a bit of a stick. I kind of have like my own inner asshole, you know, I've been watching stand-up comedy for a while now. I am relatively young, you know, I'm 26, but I've been doing it for, I don't know, about 7 years now. Well, you know, whenever I watch a comedian get up on stage, you know, there's like this whole stigma around my laughter, you know, like, oh, you know, Nicky just laughs at anything. Nicky laughs at anything. No, well, I mean, like, I may laugh a lot, but it's because you suck. My favorite part of watching like a comedian do a set is when they tell their joke and then there's a pause right afterwards and no one's laughing, but you could tell in the comedian's mind that they wanted the audience to laugh on that beat. Because I know as soon as because I know like that whole day the comedian was pretty much just like looking himself in the mirror, just like, fart on my balls, fart on my balls, fart on my balls, fart on my balls. Why is it not working? Must be the way I'm saying it. Must be the way I'm saying it. Show of hands here, just a quick survey of the room. Who here has a father? Oh, very nice. We have 8 people who have fathers. And the rest of you either never knew your father or were touched by him inappropriately at one point. I'm just kidding. I'm not making assumptions about your father, nor you. I have a father. I'm originally actually from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Anyone in here from Albuquerque, New Mexico? No? I'm the only fucking loser in this. Yeah, originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Of course, I have my family there. I have my father who lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I miss hanging out with him. Haven't seen him in a while, but I miss, hanging out with him. I love watching my father watch movies. That's my favorite thing to do. You know, he just gets so confused so easily. You know, like watching the movie The Departed with my father. And he's like a short Mexican. He's like, so wait. So how come like Brad Pitt is playing like every single character? It's like, Dad, Brad Pitt's not even in the movie. My dad thinks that all male white actors in between the ages of 30 to 50 look all alike. I'm saying that to a bunch of white people. But it's true. Like watching the movie Ocean's 11 with my father. So wait. Pause the movie. Let me get this straight. So, pretty much a team of Ben Afflecks are trying to steal another individual Ben Affleck's money, and Bernie Mac's trying to put it all together. Bernie Mac's as confused as we are. Of course he is. It was not, of course my father was a bit of a hard man to please growing up. Hard man. You know, he was no saint. You know, he was not perfect man. I remember very early memories as a child, you know, him pushing me up against a wall and saying to me, like, you think you're man enough to take me? You think you're man enough to take me? And it's like, no, I'm 8. I'm an 8-year-old baby boy. Of course, I was not the easiest child growing up. I remember when I was 13 years old, I broke my father's computer with one single AOL chat room message. My username was Brett Favre 69. To this day, there's not much anything that's quite sexier to a 13-year-old boy than the idea of Brett Favre 69. Brett Favre. I remember going on the AOL chat room, and I was open, upfront, and honest right away. Like I've always been upfront. I've always been upfront and honest right away. I went on there and I was like, 13-year-old boy, looking to talk dirty. Who's down? I remember the message boards lighting up for a few minutes from all the activity, and then the computer screen just froze. I turned the computer off, I turned it back on. There was a message on the screen that said, this computer is being reported to the government for child pedophilia. I remember my father getting home like 10 minutes later. He sees the message on the computer screen. I remember distinctly watching his face go from like anger to fear. Like him about to go on an angry tirade and then calmly sitting me down on a couch like, listen, son, they're gonna think it's me. They're gonna think I'm Brett Favre 69. How do you explain that to a father? Well, he saw the message, he saw what it said. A 13-year-old boy looking to talk dirty. Like, how do I spin that? Father, you gotta understand, I'm just trying to make friends. No, I'm serious. I'm just honestly just trying to make friends, long distance connections. Of course, my dad, me and him have a very complex relationship because to this day, when I've been in the hardest of times, he's always been there for me. Of course, my father from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I remember one time I wrecked my car, and he actually drew like $4,000 from his like $10,000 savings and paid for another car for me. It was very nice. And he told me that I can pay him back in payments. And I was. It's like $25 every 3 months. Eventually, he gave me a call like 2 years ago, and he was like, you know what? Just forget about it. I was like, Dad, but I'm up to $100 already. It's been 1 fucking year. That's all right. Do you guys ever feel like you could make the yellow light if you just had more confidence in yourself? Like you didn't have seething insecurity issues? And my mom growing up, she always used to tell me, like, the problem with you, son, is you have a low self-esteem. That's like the worst thing to say to someone with low self-esteem. The problem with you is you. Go through a bit of bouts of depression every now and then. It's like we all do. Bouts of depression. I can never tell if I'm depressed because my dopamine receptors don't work, or if I just have a shitty life. I told that to my therapist the other day, and no joke, my therapist was trying to cheer me up, and she looked me in the eyes and was like, you know what, it's probably just a combination of the two. Probably just both of them happening all the time, every time, and that will be $200. $200. I'm gonna pay $200 for an emotional prostitute. I'd rather just pay $200 for a regular prostitute. Wait, no, is that going too far? All right, going too far. Got to keep things in perspective, however. Got to keep things in perspective, of course. Not much of a judgmental person myself. Hold no grudges, and I don't hate anyone, which I know puts me in a bit of a moral conundrum. Well, at least with you guys. Not with me. I'm fine with it. You know, like, well, I just don't hold any grudges. Like, I don't hate anybody. Like, take of course, so this is Portland. Take, of course, George W. Bush, for example. George W. Bush. Like, of course we all hate the guy. But I just don't understand. I just don't think it's logical to have intolerance against the intolerant. You know, like, specifically with George W. Bush, it's like, well, I mean, like, how could we hate any man who, like, all he wants to do in his free time is, well, just paint pictures of puppies? The boy don't know no better. Leave Georgie alone. It's hard for me to have any real opinion about Trump, too. Mostly just because, you know, I just don't think anything is real. I don't believe in the reality that's given to me. None whatsoever. Like, people ask my opinions on Trump, like, one of my opinions on Trump, it's like, well, I'm just not so sure if it's, like, CGI. Or if it's, like, practical effects that are happening right now. I like to think that Donald Trump is actually, like, a culmination of, like, a guy who auditioned, like, 20 times just to get in the suit. And he nailed it. And, in fact, I actually have this other theory that, Donald Trump is in fact being voiced by Mark Hamill. And in fact, if we found out tomorrow that Donald Trump is not real and he's in fact just being voiced by Mark Hamill, all of us would be like, you know what? Good for Mark Hamill. He's always been talented. I have this theory about this joke, that if you're offended by that joke or you don't laugh at it in any way, it's because you don't really know who Mark Hamill is. I'll end with this. I've been going through a bit of a sexual awakening as of lately. Sexual awakening. Who here knows about sexual awakening? You into incest or what? Actually, I was in my first group sex session the other day. One of the participants of the group sex session, of course, was a male bartender that I see pretty frequently. I always go in there and get a drink from him, and every time I do, it's like business as usual for the guy. It's like nothing ever happened. It's like no discount whatsoever. Not even a buck off. It's like, is this all I am to you? Need I remind you that I was peer pressured to go down on you? You better fill that drink up to the fucking tippy top. All right, guys, thank you very much. I'm Nicky Moon. All right, thank you.